Sometimes you get stuck with a very bad idea in your head, and the only way to get rid of it is to lose a vintage league. All right, welcome back, vintage gamers. I had a loot tree deck that I was trying to stream on Sunday, but the internet kept going out for some reason. So we're gonna stream that on Wednesday this week. So that'll come out Friday on YouTube. And instead, I'm gonna do this off stream. Very bad idea. And now, what is the very bad idea? Well, one thing I don't get to do a whole lot of on stream is transformational sideboards. Because I play with my Decklist public, I tweet about it. It's on my Mox field. It's everywhere, so everyone knows all the cards that are in my deck. When I'm off stream, I can maybe get a little bit more creative with it. So what I'm gonna do today is probably a bad idea. It's not something that I've tried before. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play Oops All Spells, which is not really a good vintage deck anyways, but a very powerful game 1 vintage deck. And then I'm going to do a transformational sideboard into like Tinker Wheels Pio. 15 cards, 15 cards. So what have I done to facilitate this? So I took kind of like a very basic blue-black Oops All Spells list, like no Chancellor of the Annex, very high blue count for normal list. What I've done is I've put Windfall and Twister in the main, which are very serviceable main deck cards for an all-in combo deck. I've kind of like upped the blue spell land count a little bit. And so this is, a pretty lean Oops All Spells deck. We're going to use Oracle, Balustrade Spy with Dark Ritual and Fast Mana. Mill over our deck, Narcomoebas into play, and Dread Return on Thassa's Oracle. Very lean, very powerful, not a lot of tech in here. But what I'm going to try to do post-board is take the full 15-card graveyard-based package and sub it out. And so every other card here is, a reasonable card on its own, I guess, to some degree. To some degree, a playable card on its own. Whereas all of these cards are necessary to do the Oracle kill. So if everyone brings in, graveyard hate against me, then I can, the Ley Lines of the Void and etc. I can just take all that graveyard stuff out and bring in all of this. So what do I have in my sideboard? Well, I have Tinker Citadel as one of my main ones, along with Vamp and Mystical. I've decided to put Necro and Tendrils here because I'm not going to be able to get to have enough cards to board out all my Dark Rituals. So I need to do something with these Dark Rituals. So I have Necro and Tendrils and Citadel with Tinker. I put an extra Hydroelectric Specimen here to try to up our blue mana count because I think that's one of the pain points here is we have a lot of black cards to facilitate Chrome Mox and Spy Informer stuff. So I'm a little bit worried about our mana base post board. We'll see if that becomes an issue. It probably will. I didn't do any math or anything. I'm just kind of gonna wing it. And so what I did is I put 4 Hull Breachers and 4 POs to, we're gonna up our blue count a ton. Both for Chrome Mox and for Force, and give ourselves a couple different ways to win involving Tendrils and PO and Hull Breacher and the Wheels, and that's going to be our game plan. There's a flaw in this game plan, and that is that Oops All Spells is a deck that is weak against multiple pieces and multiple avenues of hate. Not only is it a graveyard-based combo deck so you can attack it with Ley Lines, it is also a very heavily artifact-based combo deck so you can attack it with Null Rods, and boarding into Hull Breacher PO does not solve that problem. So we will still be very susceptible to Null Rods, but our force count will be a lot higher than normal, and our... we do have that main deck chain that I put in here, and some sinks and stuff, so maybe it will be okay. Pact obviously will not be as good post board, but maybe it will be enough if we like Hull Breacher Twister or something. This is not going to be a great Citadel deck, but I did kind of make it a little bit better in terms of like not playing Chancellors and things that are really hard to mana wise play. But bricking on your Citadel to Pact of Negation is probably an issue. But we'll come through that when we come through that. This is a very raw idea. This is probably a very bad idea, but hopefully you'll find it entertaining and a nice little short, compact combo video. We'll see what happens in round 1. I am happy to announce the dates for high-stakes, proxy-friendly vintage in 2026. The legendary NYSE returns to Long Island in New York on June 6th. This $500 entry fee tournament will pay out 8 pieces of unlimited power. The Oklahoma Land Run returns in 2026 on July 10th through 12th at the Reed Convention Center in Oklahoma City. Play Friday Team Trios, Saturday Legacy for a Mox Sapphire, and Sunday Vintage for a Mox Emerald. Event links can be found in the description below. I hope to see you there. Let's battle. All right, we'll see how far my hubris can take me here in this vintage league with oops all spells / tinker. I'm not even super convinced that oops all spells is like that good game 1 against the current meta game, but we're gonna give it our best shot. And I'm definitely not convinced that our mana and deck works post board, but you know, it's fun to experiment. So I'm going to mulligan here. Obviously, this hand doesn't work, whereas this hand certainly does. If I were to keep this, I can play everything as long as I don't have Pact, right? Let's see. I need a black card. No, I can. Yeah, I need a black card to go on the Chrome Mox, and I need a mana to activate this, so I would have to lose out on Pact of Negation if I want to turn 1. Okay. That's what we signed up for, right? I mean, you could keep Pact and like bottom tutor and try to just like rip a mana source, which I think is pretty reasonable. I just don't know that that's what I would rather do. Okay. Well, my opponent's going to have Forcible here, so that's good. See, I ripped a black source, and now I wish I had a Pact of Negation. Well, what's I gotta do? Put one of these underneath the Chrome Mox, and then I will cast our Undercity Informer. Act like I don't have a mana here. Yeah, see? All right, well, the good news is I have a DT for next turn, if we get a next turn. I don't know. Am I wrong there? Let me know in the comments if I'm just supposed to try to... I don't know. Am I supposed to give up a turn 1 kill to hopefully have a turn 1 kill with backup? What's my percentage chance, I guess? We're looking at... The Chrome Moxes don't count, so I don't really feel like it's like super high, but maybe it is. Hey, there's a Pact. GG. Can I win if I like go to my next turn and activate Informer? I can't, right? I don't have like a way to like I don't have Memory's Journey or whatever. I'm talking about like if I pacted to make my Informer resolve. If I pack to make my Informer resolve and I have a pack trigger on my upkeep, can I win? I don't think so, right? Because Dreader turns to sorcery, so... Okay, well, I'm gonna put another Informer in play. They're gonna probably have to spin... Oh, I was gonna assume they were gonna spin for a force, but... Maybe they don't even have a blue card in hand. That's kind of one of the bigger differences between trying to build the legacy versus vintage version of Oops All Spells is the legacy version is really sweet. It's got like Jack-o'-lantern and Memory's Journey, and it can kind of play a very resilient combo game where in vintage it's a little bit harder to do that with your mana. Because you're so heavily artifact based. So my opponent's gonna have to try to win the game on this turn. Or else I'm gonna mill over my library and then therapy them or something. I guess they could theoretically have a main deck Soul Guide Lantern, which would be problematic. I don't know that we can really beat that. Not really. Oh, they have a Goblin Engineer, so they can tutor a... This is infinite draw right away. They can tutor a thingy to their yard. This is just... I just lose, right? Yeah, I just lose. They just draw through their whole deck here. So if I had a way to win on my upkeep, that would have worked for me. If not, then... Yeah, so I just lose. Okay, so they draw through their whole deck, they play all their Moxen out, and they kill me. Alright, well, that didn't work. 2-card combination gaming. But again, it could have been my fault. Like, maybe I'm just supposed to try to keep the backup. I don't know. Feels tough. Unfortunately, this is not all in one spot. So, Spy, Dread Return, Informer, Narcomoeba, Oracle, and Therapy. And then all of my other cards in. Somehow, that's not all of them. I need to figure out a better way to do that, for sure. Okay. Yeah. I wonder if there's something better I could have done in that game to make it work. The fact that the Welder combo is so compact, it's quite tough. Definitely don't want to be a graveyard-based deck if my opponent is a Welder deck. That's for sure. Though I guess tutoring for graveyard-based hate is kind of silly when all of your cards go infinite, really. Yeah, the Sensei's Top works like an astrolabe there. Not bad. So this is no blue mana, but I do have the ability to, on turn 2, play a Citadel. Probably trying to do that. I guess Citadel could be a liability against a Welder. They put an artifact in my yard. And then any blue mana lets me rebuy with Ancestral. Seems fine. I haven't played Oops All Spells in so long. It's been a really long time. So maybe I missed some things along the way here. Feel free, as always, to put it in the comments and tell me I'm a stupid streamer. I said that like really sad. Oh man. The comments are gonna call me stupid, but I don't care. And I want to, I always want to improve. That's one of the easier ways to improve, is for people to point out your mistakes. Alright, so I'm gonna play a Bog tapped. Because we're 1 mana short on turn 1. One of the more annoying things here is that our Citadel is like pretty unreliable, so we're not gonna really be able to pact to protect it. Don't think... Trying to figure out if I want to like use my land drop to have Ancestral. Because I don't really want to Ancestral with like Citadel on the stack, because I'm turning on Mindbreak Trap for no reason. It's very unlikely they have Spell Pierce. I feel like they have Flusterstorm, if anything. Force. All right. So the question is like, am I supposed to play around Flusterstorm or Mindbreak Trap or both? I'm gonna play around Mindbreak Trap. Say would have had Force backup for my Citadel. There's a Welder. So they could weld my Citadel in for me. I don't have another Tinker target. I did consider putting a Sphinx as one of my 15 cards. I didn't put a Charbelcher because it doesn't really play into the Null Rod problems that well. So yeah, I don't know. I definitely considered having like a Sphinx. It's a blue card. It's nice to have other targets for Tinker. Welder, Welder. Hopefully they attack with a Welder. No. Fair enough. I think I'm just going to put it in play now. In case I draw a Twister. I only have 1 blue mana. 2 Twisters in my deck. Yeah, I think I'm willing for that. See if what happens with this. Interesting spot. I have a bunch of tutors now. Needle. Sure. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I don't think we have like we don't have very good needle targets post board because we boarded out our Undercity Informer. Nice. I mean that it's kind of working. So they can just, yeah. I mean, we'd have to find another action card, but it's not an action card. I can always use Tinker off of Mana Crypt here as bait at some point. I don't have a Sensei Salve in my deck, which I considered as well. I didn't want to add a lot of colorless cards. Don't know how many more hits I'm going to get in with this before they go for the double block. I don't really have an amazing Chain of Vapor. They could sack a land. Key. Yeah. That's another combo. Vault Key. Means we have to counter like engineers from this spot. All right, so still looking for one of our tutors. Could play some of our lands if we draw them. That's a great one. Love that. Let's just jam that. All right, here we go. Working as intended. I don't have a lot of blue mana, so I'm not going to pick up the whole Reacher. Cool. It did nothing. None of these cards do anything. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. So, yeah. I have another blue mana now, which is nice. Yeah, I think I'm still down for attacking. If I get a trade here, it's a really strong 2-for-1, and my opponent has not a lot going on. So I think it's fine. Nothing. All right. I think I'm just going to get rid of this Dark Ritual. I don't really see a need for a Dark Ritual, whereas a Mana Crypt is still good for another PO. Also, I don't want my opponent to like weld in my Mana Crypt on me. Matters, probably not. Let's be realistic here. Probably not. Another Goblin Welder. I don't think that changes anything here, though it does make my opponent's blocks better. I just think I can have better mental misstep targets, and it's not like my opponent can attack or anything, so... Chrome Mox. I think I like the idea of Chrome Mox as a blue card here. So I have Hardcast Force, and I'm just going to get rid of this Tinker because there's no use for this Tinker. Oh, I guess Chrome Mox is fine. I was thinking about like my opponent could weld it out, but the only thing they can weld it out for is a Citadel. That's a little risky. Like they could weld it out for a Citadel, like on an end step. Like it's not too bad of an idea for them, but Null Rod. Okay, I will. Well, oh, I guess forcing a Null Rod is pretty bad considering my opponent has 3 Goblin Welders. Okay, fine. I have a Chain of Vapor, so it's fine. I have my Chain of Vapor, so if I ever need to, I can just bounce it. Borgart Trawler. Okay, well, I guess that's not going to really work against a Goblin Welder. I will play this as a bog, I guess. Yeah, as long as my opponent has no artifacts in the yard, they can't really do anything with these welders. Wow, this game has not gone as planned. I drew too many cards off PO to miss. Not really, though. Like, I have so many bad cards. Oh, fuck off! Alright, well, I'm gonna just Chain of Vapor back my Hull Breacher here. I feel like they've hit, like, really nice sets of cards, unfortunately. I don't think I'm supposed to, like, sack a land to bounce back Null Rod. We have enough mana now to play a Twister, so... Well, I guess a Twister is not really winning, and I did draw a Twister. Because I discard my hand, and then I get a billion turned off treasure tokens, and I don't get my chain back. How do I win this game? Tendrils? Okay, I mean... did I put a Tolarian? No, there's no Tolarian, right? I wonder if I should have a Tolarian and Expedition map in my sideboard. That's also a thing I didn't consider. I'm gonna play this tapped. And then I'm gonna play Windfall. Oh, I guess it just turns on Goblin Welder. So that was probably a bad idea. My deck sucks. Oh, my deck is really bad. I just got rid of all my forces too. So how do I have to end step a PO or have extra Dark Ritual mana. So they can also swap 3 cards to turn off a bunch of my PO. Trying to figure out if I'm supposed to end step a PO or if I'm supposed to... I think I'm supposed to end step a PO on their turn. Just gonna hold on to this, spell the Profane. I'm really lucky they had no artifacts in their hand that would have turned on these Goblin Welders. That was a really, really bad Windfall. Like, Twister would have been fine, but Windfall was a lot worse there. So they can swap out something for a Mana Crypt if they want, which they probably want to do. Yeah. But at the very least, if I PO on their end step and they use their 3 Welders, the Welders will be turned off for a little bit. I guess it has to now resolve through whatever they play. Time Vault. So they can, as long as this resolves, it's fine. If it gets countered, it's bad, because then they can weld everything in and out, and it's bad for me. Okay, so I think that's fine. What a silly game. What an absolutely silly game. That means this resolves, though. So they can weld 3 things. Oh, they're not even going to bother? Okay, do I have my tendrils? Stop. Wait a minute. I have Dark Ritual, which is 1 mana into 5 mana. And then I have 8 mana. And then I have... Okay, so I have enough. So do I need... I don't need to... I mean, I can just Mystical. Okay, cool. I'm just going to do Mystical thing. Mystical Tendrils. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual. Well, at least we made something funny. And that's what matters, right? All right, Tendrils you. I feel like that was pretty dumb. It was pretty stupid of me. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. So do I bring back in my Oops All Spells combo? I mean, they have Null Rod. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna board back in. I think it's like just a stronger combo, and I think like the hate they're gonna have for me is not exactly what it's wanting, and I think my thing is faster. I don't know. I've decided I'm gonna keep them on their toes, and I'm just going to board everything back in. This is so silly. What are my other cards here? Bam. And what was the last card? What's the 15th card? I have no idea. I thought it was a hydroponic thing. Vamp, Necro, Tendrils, Tinker. Oh, Tinker. Okay, whatever. I mean, Windfall's not very good on the draw here, but maybe I should have kept in the Tinker. I don't know. Maybe I should have one Charbelcher. So this is a Dread Return in my hand, but I have a Pact and a turn 1, and I just need to therapy my Dread Return, so... Okay, hopefully they just like tap out for a Goblin Welder on turn 1, and they don't have an answer. Oh, blue. 7 card, Emery. Yeah, that's fine, don't care. If this works, I'll be pretty happy. Okay, so let's go this thing. Did I need it to win? I might have needed it to win. Oops. Obviously, I'm not used to this. Oops. All spells? GG! Yeah, go. Let's go. Wow. I don't know, man. All right. We're round 2. We've got another turn 1 kill. You know, with these turn 1 kills, people might just start asking, Justin, why isn't Oops All Spells good in Vintage, right? Like you'd think you know Oops All Spells gets a pretty big buff in Vintage. You have all of this fast mana. What makes Oops All Spells, you know, worse in Vintage than it is in Legacy? And it is. It's much worse. Oops All Spells is very frequently the worst win rate deck in Vintage that has a name and is in the data. And so why would that be? Well, the answer is a huge percentage of the format plays forces in the main, and not only just 4 forces, sometimes 3 extra negations, sometimes extra counter spells. There are decks with main deck Soul Guide Lantern. There are decks with main deck Mindbreak Trap, and the decks that don't play main deck forces are playing, you know, extreme hate pieces like Archon of Emeria, Null Rod, Void Mirror, So really, I think in general, it's just the format is much more prepared. And then post board, you know, I'm trying to juke graveyard hate. Why am I trying to juke graveyard hate? Because every deck in Vintage has to play a ton of graveyard hate to beat Dredge. So it's tough to be a graveyard based combo deck in Vintage, um, like Oops All Spells. So that, you know, while Oops All Spells does get some major upgrades in the fact that it has this full Moxen suite, it just faces a major format shift in the way people are building their decks in comparison to the Legacy, and a lot more hate. Now, you know, maybe there's a way you can build an Oops All Spells deck that's closer to the Legacy versions. The Legacy versions, like I said, are a little bit look like they're a little more resilient these days with the Jack-o'-lanterns and Memories Journeys and stuff. But once you start putting that kind of cards in your deck, you're going to just lose your power advantage that you gain from being, and you're not even like, you are the fastest deck in Vintage, I would say, but you're not like the fastest deck by far. There are other decks that are just as you know, some decks that also win on turn one, but are like way more robust and can play longer games. So my opponent did bobble me, so they do know what we're up to here, maybe, depending on what card's on top of our deck. If it's like Force of Will, they don't know anything. If it's an Undercity Informer, then they're gonna know. But we have, you know, if it's a blue card, we have multiple counter spells here. My opponent has no no Lurrus and 2 baubles, which means they're likely on like the blue-red Murktide deck that just recently won, or an Emery deck. Ah, it's Balance Trade Spy. So, all right. Well, I'm gonna probably just do the deploying of the Balance Trade Spy. So, do I want to play around Spell Pierce? Let me. I guess I can't really play around Spell Pierce. Let me just see if there's Spell Pierces in this deck. There are 2 Spell Pierces in this deck. So I'll do that, I guess. I will play this Bog, and then I will play a Black Lotus. I guess I have a mental misstep, so it's kind of silly to be playing around Spell Pierce, but I got negated down to that. All right. I am going to go with Force because I have Pact still. All right. Looks like I got another turn 1 win with double counterspell backup this time. Just see how it goes post board is going to be the interesting one. All right. Let me therapy my opponent here. Okay. All right. Got our turn 1 win. So now let's select all of these and put them here. Okay. That works pretty well. And then it's just I have to find the ones that matter. Spies, Informers, and Therapy, Oracle, and Narc. Okay, they're all kind of in similar spots, so it shouldn't be too hard. Let's do our full swap here. Now, my opponent has 1 Tormod script in their sideboard, 2 Lanterns, and 3 Null Rods, and a trap in the main. That's what I'm saying. Like, look at this deck list. Like, it's going to be 1 Trap Vein, 2 Spell Pierces. So, like, this is not really the kind of graveyard hate I'm trying to dodge. I'm kind of trying to dodge, like, ley lines, but... And then we have that problem again where they have Null Rods. So we'll see what they choose to do. So here, and we also have the problem with our deck sucks. But that's a different problem, I guess. Maybe we can get some of their some draw spells with this. Okay. Yeah. I was kind of hoping that my opponent wouldn't play a turn 1 Ancestral. DT. That's Tinker, right? No. It's not Tinker. Could be Yogwell if I had played Yogwell, but I don't think that's a lethal Yogwell. So I guess I'm just passing. Maybe I should play a Charbelcher still. Because if we could DT Tinker for a Charbelcher or whatever, that would be better. Or even just DT play a Charbelcher, not even Tinker for one. Let's see if there's a Soul Guide Lantern is happening. Okay. And they get to mill. And they have 2 types in their yard. Right. I think we're still holding the line here. Well, killing a Dragon Rage Channeler is an interesting idea. Kind of I'm trying to kind of down actually. Yeah, you weren't playing around that now, were you? Boom. Eat it alive. And I have force back up here. If they find one more type into the yard, then this thing gets an attack anyways, so I'm gonna race. I don't have any mana of any color at the moment, black or blue, so... They kept in the lightning bolt because it kills the Undercity Informer. Oh, man. Well, this pivot did not work at all. Yeah, I'll force it. That's fine. They milled the lightning bolt with the lightning bolt on the stack, so we got that going for us, which is nice. Fell the Profane? Demonic for something. What are we demonicking for? Bro, our cards are garbage. Do I just take Twister and hope to hit a blue mana? It's asking for a lot. It's asking for quite a lot. Because I have 1, 2, 3 Synchronous Tubers. I did not put enough blue mana in this deck. Nope. I did not put enough blue mana in this deck. I have like very few cards that I can draw to here. I wish I had a Charbelcher. Charbelcher is definitely the card I would search for here. All right, we're learning. We're learning. Okay, I'm just gonna take. I guess if I draw a Dark Ritual, I could cast Citadel. Okay, I'm just gonna take the Twister and hope and pray, I think. I did not make a very good deck, I must say. Another Dragon Rage Channeler. Blue mana, blue mana, blue mana. Oof, I drew the Windfall. I'm just gonna see if they can't put a card in their yard. I guess they can put a card in their yard with Lantern, but that would give me a blue mana, so. Blue, blue. Null Rod. That's bad. That's very bad. That might be the most bad, actually. Man, this plan sucks. Well, you know, at least we did some learning. We have base decks that just like have graveyard stuff and null rods, but their graveyard stuff kind of sucks. So I assume this is bad for me. So I don't know. It's all bad. I think I need an expedition map and a Tolarian Academy as well. What did they leave on top? I think this is not good. I wonder what they left on top. A force, maybe? Time Walk. That probably beats me. Considering, what do they need in their yard? A sorcery? Oh, this is a sorcery. That's a problem. Okay, I am dead to that. I'm not actually dead, but I go to 1 or something, so. All right, so I will scratch that idea. Terrible idea, Justin. Yeah, this is not worked, I will say. I think I'm supposed to... Why don't I know what this last card is ever? What's the Tinker? Okay, I have some ideas. I think like we're supposed to probably play Tinker in the main and a Charbelcher in the main so that we can keep those and not have to sideboard into them. I think we need more blue mana. We need a lot of things. This is Windfall. Okay, let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot. People are fighting in my Discord about ban and alt restrictions about True Name Nemesis. Can we not? All right, so I am gonna go Mana Crypt. I'm gonna play into Trap, I think, because I want the most value. All right, Windfall. Force. That's good. They probably don't have a Mind Break Trap. If I can get a 5-card hand, I'll accept it. Cool. 5-card hand. My opponent had Wasteland, another Forest, Volcanic, Soul Guide, Bolt. Let's see. And now we have an Undercity Informer. Seems pretty good. So they have to have another Force or a Trap. Maybe the whole pivot idea is a garbage plan, and I should just be playing oops all spells every time. I only have one Cabal Therapy, by the way. If their hand is like negation trap, I guess, or like if their hand, I guess, is negation misstep, where they like misstep my therapy and then negate my thing. Like, there's a ton of ways for me to lose here because there's so many counter spells, right? Like, it's trap, force of will, and negation. I guess this deck doesn't have any negations in it right now. Oh no, it has one negation. So like I have to therapy naming negation, but if they have negation misstep or like they held trap and they have negation trap, or like trap misstep even, you know, I mean, they probably wouldn't hold trap because like you don't know how many therapies I'm gonna play. You know, I could be playing 2 therapies and Poxwalkers or something. I guess you would see that in game 1 actually, so you would know how many. Though sometimes I've seen Medvedev sideboard a second therapy, so maybe that's not a great example. All I know is our sideboard pivot has been very bad, and our Oops All Spells has won us 4 games. All right. How long can Justin stay lucky for with his horribly built deck? At what point do I stop sideboarding into the whole Breacher stuff? Maybe it'll be good in some matchup and it'll be a good idea. So this is blue. So this is unfortunately a byproduct of, I mean, we need black mana, right? I guess this is fine. We have lots of black mana in our deck. So I am just going to, sorry, not that card. I'm going to get rid of this Chrome Mox and I'm going to act like I'm Jewel, like a kind of Jewel deck. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to die because my opponent revealed a Chancellor of the Annex. Okay, well, okay, so now I no longer can play the Mana Vault, but I can at least play a Sink into Stupor for 3 life and hold up Force and force something. And that way, if I draw a Black Source next turn, I can win. New plan. I have 1 turn window to draw Black Source probably, though, before I lose the game to this stuff. I don't think I'm supposed to counter the Chrome Mox. Because if they go Ancient Tomb, I counter. Ancient Tomb 3-drop, I counter it. If they go... I'm fucking hell, man. If they go fucking Vexing Bauble, Ancient Tomb, whatever. Alright, fine. Fine. I have to counter that. I have to counter that or I can't win with Dread Return, so... I get Wastelanded here. Ancient Tomb, Void Mirror. Oh, I can't, man. I can't. That's what I'm talking about, chat. Even the I need to win on the play on turn 1 or I lose the game. All right. Fortunately, my opponent had Vexing Bauble and Void Mirror on turn 1. There was no counterplay for me here besides win on turn 1. Archon. Alright, I don't want to show my opponent what I'm doing here. I kind of want them to think I'm on Jewel, though I guess it doesn't really help me. I'm definitely going to not sideboard, though. So I will take out this Mental Misstep, and I'll play an extra blue land. And maybe I'll take out Cataxian Probe and play... I mean, Mystical Tutor is not very good if I can't... I think post-board, game 3, we might have to switch to Twister because we'll have a higher chance of forcing their turn 1 play, and we only have 1 Chain of Paper. I don't know. Somehow, yeah, I feel like we won the die roll, so we had to win on turn 1. I did not keep a hand that won on turn 1. I kept a hand that won on turn 2 if I drew a Black Source. Which I didn't draw Black Source anyways, but... Black Source is like the most likely thing I can draw, though it's not very likely, actually. So maybe I'm not supposed to keep that kind of hand. I should just mulligan harder, actually. Feels hard to, like, when you don't know your opponent's on, to mulligan that, because you have a force, right? This hand does not do anything. Mulligan. This hand wins on turn 1. That's good. I can just put Twister on the bottom, and because I'm using Pact anyways, I don't have to use Pact, I guess, because I have Force. So I guess I can just put Pact on the bottom that way, and if I get like double trapped, I can still win. Oh no, 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 do not Chancellor me. Okay, I didn't get Chancellored. I don't know that I can beat a Chancellor here. I'd have to play a second turn. I guess a Force might get me there. All right, I think post-board, they can bring in ley lines in game 3. So I think we are gonna do the pivot post-board where we have higher force probability and ley lines, and we beat ley lines, and then like hope in game 3 they like go to a ley line hand that we can beat. Always yes, always yield, always yes, yes. Let's therapy my opponent here. Mind break trap. They had a mind break trap. Interesting. Wonder why they didn't want to mind break trap my informer or my spy. Like if I don't have force here, then that trap works, you know? But I had force, so like obviously I was winning no matter what, but yeah. Okay, so now my opponent knows what's happening here. And I mean, we'll make the call. We're gonna make the call. We're gonna bring him in. Bring in the reliever. I don't know that it will work. In fact, I kind of think it won't, but sometimes you got to do it. Maybe. I don't know. This windfall's really bad. Yeah, I didn't think that all of this through. There are some big holes in what's happening here, but that's okay. Sometimes you got to play with a deck a couple times to learn, especially when it's more of an experimental idea. All right, hopefully my opponent mulligans to a ley line and not a very strong hand. I force one of their opening plays, and then we just tinker. And then hopefully Citadel wins. I'm not even convinced that Citadel wins on like a tinker here. That's another big problem. I was thinking maybe we should just get a Sphinx, because that's a blue card, and it's, yeah, or like an Inkwell Leviathan. Maybe an Inkwell Leviathan. Maybe we should put an Inkwell on our sideboard. That might be a good idea. Like, put Tinker and a Charbelcher main, and put an Inkwell in my board, and a Citadel in my board, and then board in. Yeah, okay, we have some ideas. We don't need 4 PO, 4 Hull Breacher, right? I will say, if we do this, what's our blue count get to? Our blue count gets really high. The problem is we have so many bad cards. We have 30 blue cards. Okay, maybe I overdid it. maybe I. So like, one of my other thoughts was like, maybe the decks that bring in Leyline, Hold Ratio is actually like a good card against. But maybe that's a dumb idea too. Maybe I need to bring in like less, like if I'm 22 cards without Hold Ratio PO, what I probably need to do is bring in better supporting cards for Tinker. This is Force of Will, Ancestral, Dark Ritual, Necropotence. This hand slaps. Unless I get Chain. Unless I get, not Chain. I guess I get Chancellored. And I have a Chain. Okay, I mean, I'm in. This hand, I'm in. This is a very much of like a powerful blue hand. Opponent kept 7. Are they revealing a Chancellor or a Leyline? Leyline. Yes. Yes. No Chancellor and a Leyline. That's perfect. We did it. Perfect. Just as we drew it up. All right. What else do you have? Do you have other good things? Or Black Lotus? That's not happening. Black Lotus. I'm going to pitch the Hold Reacher. Emerald. Ancient Tomb. Void Mirror. Okay, that's acceptable. No white source at the moment. Solid 7-card hand from them, though. Let's play a Springs, and we'll cast Ancestral. So I guess there's no reason to, because there's a Void Mirror. Then we have our Black Source and our Necro and our Dark Rituals. We can always chain that Void Mirror and try to go really hard this turn. I guess we can't if they Wasteland us. What are they playing? Karn? I see. Okay. Karn. I am not confident my Necro can win. So now there's no point in chaining the Void Mirror because the Karn will turn off these artifacts anyways. Man, that's a crazy start, actually. We hit the Lotus, but they still had 2 colorless payoffs. Oh, we're just getting in for 2. I like that. It's a nice little play. I can kill this now with Fell the Profane if I hit another Black Source. And then I could actually free myself. Yeah. Unfortunate. So I think I might still bounce the Void Mirror so I can play out my artifacts even if they're dead. I have very little life to work with here. I have to kind of win the game on the next turn, which doesn't really seem likely. Trying to figure out if I want to like hold on to this chain for like when they wasteland me, maybe to get double value. I learned about that play the other day. I didn't really know about that play before. Okay, I think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna Necro for at least a lot. So if this hits me, I go to 5. If this hits me, I go to 4, and I can still play one of these lands. Is that enough? How do I win this game, though? Wait, how do I even win this game? Like a Tendrils? So maybe I just go... The problem is, like, if I get Wastelanded, I'm so dead. Okay, I think this is as far. This is not very many cards, right? This is 4 cards. Man, this Karn is such a beating. Because if it was just Void Mirror, we'd very easily win, right? Because we could just end of turn chain, and then I feel like we'd be fine. This Karn was such a bitch. What a great hand. They didn't have the mulligan for Leyline. The Leyline didn't do anything. I thought like being 1 dead card would help, but apparently it wasn't enough. Okay, let me think. If my opponent wastelands right away, then I can't get hit for any damage. So I could go 2 more cards deep. I'm gonna go 2 more cards deep. I don't know if this is like ever gonna be good enough to be perfectly honest, but I have tendrils. It's just not gonna be enough, right? So I can get rid of force, this, and then I guess I just like am never POing, right? Unless I bounce both of the. Wait a second. What if my plan is they wasteland, I bounce. Oh, I can't bounce and sack because they would have to bounce back. So I could bounce the Void Mirror, but I can't get rid of the Karn. But do I want to be able to force the Void Mirror on the way back down so I can get Storm Count? I guess I don't need to get Storm Count high. I need my opponent to wasteland my springs, right? So that I can go 1, 2, 3. Oh no, if they wasteland my springs, I don't have enough mana. Oh no. I needed to draw 1 more mana off of this and I missed. Wow. Wait, no, I have a demonic tutor that can find me another dark ritual, right? Does it help me? I don't think that helps me. That's net 0. Okay, I think I lost. I think I lost. I think I was 1 mana short unless my opponent doesn't wasteland me for some reason. If my opponent doesn't wasteland me for some reason, do I even have enough spells? I could just bounce back my Necropotence when they do the chain. Okay, so if my opponent wastelands me, I can bounce back my Necro and still draw into a black land, right? Okay, so my opponent will wasteland me. I'm going to chain my Necropotence. And then I'm going to sack my Fellmire, and I'm going to bounce the Void Mirror so I don't get hit for this turn. And then the way I win this game is drawing a black source. Drawing exactly a Fel the Profane, actually. And then I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I'll have enough. I might be, yeah, 7. I should have exactly enough. I think I've set myself up where if I draw Fel the Profane this turn, I have exactly enough. Maybe I should have drawn. No, I needed to have 3 life left. Wow, I think I actually put myself in a spot to possibly win. That's crazy. We were pretty freaking close. This Karn ruined me, I will say. I'm surprised they hit the black source. I guess I'm not really surprised they hit the black source. All right. Fel the Profane. No, I didn't hit it. Didn't get there. So I think I'm out of options now because I don't think I'll have an untapped black source that doesn't kill me next turn after they hit me for 2. Man, that feels bad. That feels real bad. The fact that it was Wasteland and Void Mirror and Karn. If it was any less than all three of those, we would be fine. But the fact that it was all three of those and a Wasteland was just too, and a Lotus was just too much. That's fine. Again, I think we have no outs because we have no black lands that don't deal 3 damage to us, right? As long as they stand up the Void Mirror again. Yeah. I mean, I think my opponent's standing up the Void Mirror play saved them in this game. It's very possible if they hadn't done that, they would not have had enough damage to get through. Oh, wow. I am so close. It was so close. It was so close. All right, here we go. Let's continue our quest here. This one is no payoff. I think we just mulligan every time that we don't have a turn 1, right? This one is no pay. I mean, I've had great mana hands, just no payoffs. We are up against... Oh, no. Actually, our Hull Breacher sideboard plan might be good against this deck. They'll bring in ley lines and stuff versus us, and their Countervine. Okay, this hand's fantastic. No... I mean, it's fantastic as it goes. My opponent kept 7, which means they're going to have a counterspell. They have main deck Mindbreak Traps and stuff as well. I think the answer here is Windfall on the bottom and Dark Ritual on the bottom. So I have land, yeah. This is a spot where we can absolutely just lose because they have too many different kinds of counter spells. They also have Noxious Revival, which could kill me as well. Like, it's not very good against this deck. Though again, my opponent's deck is not exactly a not a real deck, because it's a real deck. It's just not a highly played deck anymore. So like the percentage chance that this works for me is quite low. My opponent's deck is just all free counter magic, which is very good against my all-in turn 1 deck that had no counter spell here. But I'm still gonna go for it, right? Yeah, they have Noxious Revival on Thassa's Oracle. I think that means I can't win. No, I can still win. They should have waited on this Noxious Revival, I think. Because if they wait on the Noxious Revival until I'm targeting it with Dread Return, then it's seal the deal. But here, what I can do is wait a turn, draw my Thassa's Oracle, and then therapy it out of my hand. I mean, I still think that's not going to work, but at least I have a line. This is definitely, yeah, we are not going to play this post board for sure. Is there another thing I can Dread Return that's good? Not really. Like a Poxwalker version of this deck might be like more redundant here, where you could theoretically like, if you had 2 Poxwalkers, I guess maybe you could like Dread Return another spy and spy over your Oracle, and then have another Dread Return or something. I don't know. Like, you can make this more redundant than it is, but I will play this out to my 1 out, and then we'll obviously concede when we're dead. But yeah, this might be one of the worst possible matchups. Game 1. Damn, we're running the gauntlet here. Wasteland is fine. If they have no counter magic in their hand, we can win. If they have any pieces of counter magic at all, we cannot win. Therapy, target myself. They don't have misstep. That's nice. 2 traps were milled over by serum powder. Yeah, they have force of will for therapy, so yeah, I mean, we just can't ever beat that, so. Well, I can Dread Return, a Spy, and hope they have all of their cards in their hand, I guess. It's at least something. They have a Wastelands. I guess they don't have enough. They also have another Noxious Revival. Okay. Yes. This game plan does not work against my opponent's deck. Fair enough. Select all. Those come in. Spy, Dread Return, Informer, Narcomoeba Oracle, and Therapy go out. Therapy might be like a decent one to keep in if we have like a worse card. Like Chain's probably not very good unless they have exactly Chalice. So Therapy might be better than Chain here. All right, try again. This time with Hull Breachers. I've got a Twister, a Dark Ritual that doesn't lead anywhere, a PO with no Moxin, a Negation that doesn't protect anything good. Put that away. I've got a Boggart Trawler, 2 Rituals that don't lead anywhere, a bunch of mana that doesn't do anything. I'll put that away. I've got a Tinker. Tinker also not very good against my opponent's deck, but this is not enough to Tinker. To Tinker here, I need to get rid of Ancestral Recall. That feels really bad. I think I am supposed to not do that and instead just go Sink into Stupor. They have no Leyline, huh? I think they're supposed to go Sink into Stupor and Pedal and pass. And Ancestral on their upkeep. And then I can at least draw into Artifact mana. Even Dead Chrome Moxes I can draw into to cast Tinker. Are they gonna Vigor my Pedal? This would be another spot where having a Sphinx might be good. All right, well, I have both Hull Breacher and Tinker. The fact that Hull Breacher is a little late might be a problem. Let's see. Yep, that's a problem. Rootwalla, Vengevine. I don't even know if a Hull Breacher wins from this spot anymore. I don't have counter magic for resolving Tinker through like negations at all. And trap I need to resolve through. So I am getting vigored, I guess. So I could Dark Ritual and cast Hull Breacher here. Is something I'm considering doing. I don't think so, though. I think the answer is... I think the answer is... Try to bait with a Breacher. I'm not gonna have enough life, though. This is not gonna work. I need to just Tinker and lose in peace. Ah... The problem is, like, negation, Tinker can get negated, where Hull Breacher can't. But I don't know that this is, like, enough. I guess, technically, if they don't attack all here... I really wish I had a Sphinx of the Steel win. I think I would win. They have 2 cards left. I think I just need to hit Twister with my 5 life. Okay. Five life and a land drop is not very good here, but they had negation trap. All right, I don't know. I could have gone for like a more aggressive line in this game maybe, but it's really hard to go for a more aggressive line when my opponent's deck is all counter magic, but maybe I just have to. If they hit 2 free spells, they can bring back Vengevines. I don't really have a lot of hits anymore. A Bajuka Bog guy would have been pretty good. A Borgart Bog. Yeah, this is like probably the most abysmal matchup possible, and it doesn't really get that much better with my plan. This would be pretty good if I didn't have to kill both 1/1s and have 1 life left. I could have played this game better. I'm under no delusion that I could not. I could have played this game better, but yeah, that matchup is not pretty. Try again, one more time. All right, here we go. 5th and final round of this adventure here. I think some part of what we're trying to do has merit. It's just, I don't think the way we did it makes sense. Maybe if we had just done the creature pivot, where we like pivot into Hull Breachers and Shieldrids and Wheels, maybe that would have worked. Maybe that's the way. Maybe Shieldrids is the way. Maybe Shieldrids. I don't know. I thought this was a cool idea, though. Let me know in the comments what you think, if there was a better way of going about this. I just don't get to do transformational sideboards anymore. And I wanted to, so this has no counterspell backup, but we don't need any. We don't need that where we're going. Cool. Now we just need to try to combo kill our opponent through as many unknowns as possible. They have Luris, so we have to hit Force of Will and Negation, and Hopefully hit the right one. Probably supposed to name negate. They just not, they don't have it. No force in the opener. Okay. All right. We're gonna pivot. We're gonna pivot. I still don't think this is a good idea, but we're gonna pivot. I'm gonna pivot. I think I'm gonna keep the therapy over this. Ah, fuck it. It's fine. Select all. Everybody in. Everybody out. I think. I just don't see this being that much better versus Luris, but maybe I'm wrong. What what a I don't even know what to say. What a stupid league we've done here. Honestly, we've had some cool decisions though, and we were able to make some game states where we had, outs to play for, which I think is cool. We did a lot of game one winning, and we did also some game one losing. You can see though, I think you can see why it's so tough because these decks just have so many things. Like if my opponent is Luris, right? If they're on the controlling version of Luris, they can have main deck Mindbreak Trap, 4 Force, 3 Negation, Mental Misstep. If they're on the play, God forbid, they have Spell Pierce, Null Rod, Soul Guide, Lantern Main, Consign. Tendrils of Agony is not a very good magic card. I drew a lot of restricted cards here. They don't really line up very well, though. Try again. This is so bad. I'm gonna try this and put away a force and see if we can't build up to a PO or something. I mean, these are the worst possible mocks into PO, but I don't know like how. I don't think our game plan gets a lot better by mulliganing post board. Like we have Tinker, but resolving a Tinker is still going to be quite difficult. It doesn't show us anything. I guess this Rote Ruby shows us probably Breach or PO, which is slightly different. It'll be interesting to see what they kind of bring in. Three cards in my opponent's hand. A force on a stock up here is quite good. Ah, another Welder player. Okay. I don't really want to fight over a Welder. Okay, that's a different pitch card. So let's take a look at our opponent's hand here. It's a Luris Welder version, and they have Force, Cam, and Moxite. I'm still so far away from doing anything. Cam Moxite is just lethal. Wait, so did I just lose? Yeah. Well, no, they have to get a card. Oh, they have to discard a. Okay, yeah, we just lose. I don't really know how I'm supposed to win that because if I force this, then my opponent just welds it into play and then cams to untap, and then just welds out, and I lose. So, well, they didn't even get to see my sideboard plan, but I think I'm going back. Man, that Welder deck is really, really good against non-negation forces, huh? I mean, I should know that considering I made the deck, but for some reason I don't feel like I fully grasp just how bad that was to have Force of Will. Like I have to actively force Welder, which I don't want to do, right? I want to keep my force for my combo elements. So it's kind of tough as like the combo player on my side because as a control player, sure, you just force the Welder, you You shoot the welder with your what card is missing here? Tendrils. You shoot the welder with your bowmaster and your removal. Like, it's a lot easier when you're like playing full control, but if you're playing combo, like, it's really hard to force a welder because you need to protect your combo. But it's if you don't force the welder, you might just die because you can't really force the follow-ups. Kind of frustrating. This hand is unfortunately not gonna work, so this hand is much better, and we'll probably win on turn 1. Oh, I don't have a black mana. Oh, I'm stuck here. I did not understand that I did not have a black mana here. So, it's on me. Sorry about that, chap. Too busy yapping. Not enough thinking. Sometimes I see Dark Ritual and I'm like, black mana. But you don't have the black mana. Yeah, I probably would have gone to 5 if I had realized I didn't have black mana. But we don't have a lot of time anyways, so. Engineer. Probably just puts a Soul Guide Lantern or something into the yard. Maybe just the Infinite. I mean, they don't have a Welder, so probably just Soul Guide Lantern. Null Rod, yeah, that works too. Okay, looking for a black mana. Chain of Vapor means I have 2 counter spells at least. I can counter an artifact they play so that they can't bring a Null Rod back. They need an artifact here to bring back an artifact. So we can at least do that. Technically, we could still win through a Null Rod because we do have a Dark Ritual, but we'd have to hit double lands or a black land and a Dark Ritual, which is asking for quite a lot. The fact that my deck is so weak to Null Rod is like really rough. I wonder if you could like mitigate that somehow by boarding into Spirit Guides or something. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? All right, blue. Yeah, surveillance cam. I have to force surveillance cam or else I die. I don't die, but all right, they have force backup. So now they can just get a Null Rod. Yup. Okay, I mean, we're still playing towards an out, so I'm not going to concede yet. Definitely not conceding yet, but we are very close to losing. Kind of need to just do the turn 1 thing. I had turn 1 with a force and a pact, so I was like, yeah, probably should just do it, but it's not good enough. We need, well, I mean, it would have been good enough if it wasn't what I thought it was. But, yeah. What a weird league. We played against Vine and double Welder. What a weird league. 2-3 is probably better than we deserve, considering we had a terrible sideboard plan. All right, I need to see lands here. That's a good one. That puts me on just a black mana. Black land, I should say. Could take some time here and like weld out this Moxite and weld it back in if they wanted to. So you can weld the Moxite out for the cam and then untap this if you have another land. Oh, you don't need another land because you have, oh, for the Null Rod. And then you can use your Opal. Where are you going with it though? Maybe just use your Opal now to weld out the Moxite for the Rod. This doesn't really help you though. Unless you have like another red Lana. I need to put the no. Oh, there you go. There's a red mana. Okay, so now you can weld. I still don't understand. I guess you can use your opal. Oh, they're gonna Thundering Falls. Okay, yeah, sure. All right, so now you just weld the Moxite out for the Null Rod. So you made progress, and you got an extra land, and you milled another card over, so that makes sense. Makes sense. We did not hit the cards we needed. I take the blame on this one, chat and YouTube. This one's my fault. I needed a mulligan one more time. I did not realize I didn't have a black mana. The fact that I get beat by Null Rod is very bad. That's the number one thing I'm taking away from this adventure here. Is while the Moxen let you turn one your opponent fairly frequently, considering how many times we do this league, it also means you just randomly die to Null Rod. Probably, I mean, I had 7 hits, which is not a lot, to be fair. Now my opponent, tutor, stock up. I still think we can win. I guess it's gonna be hard now, because we took a mana crypt hits. Okay, I mean, if we hit the thing, we win on the spot with a negation backup, so we still have another attempt here. No, now we don't. Soul Guide Lantern. As long as they leave open this Goblin Engineer, they can weld out the Null Rod and hit me with the Soul Guide Lantern. Ah, yeah. Smart play, smart play. Altar Boy knows what's up. It'll be daggers when I draw it this turn. Okay. All right. So what did we learn? We learned a lot of things we already knew, which was Oops All Spells is not very good, but it is very powerful. We learned that black and blue mana post-board was, in fact, a problem. We learned that the specific cards I chose to use were probably not very good. And also that the idea here might be cooked in a way that we probably should go for Dark Ritual payoffs. So I considered Doomsday, but we have no way of breaking into our Doomsday piles because we have no cantrips. So Doomsday seemed a little bad. So, but I think maybe the answer actually just is like Shieldrids, and I saw Unstoppable Slashers and that kind of thing. I feel like it's so low power, but maybe like Shieldrids and Barrowgoyfs. Yeah. I think the next thing I would try is like Shieldrids and Barrowgoyfs. I didn't realize how like many blue cards we had already. Maybe you still do Tinker. Like I think Tinker maybe for like an Inkwell Leviathan or a Sphinx of the Steel Wind makes a little bit more sense. I thought maybe this Tendrils would work, and it almost did work actually at a couple times. So like, I don't feel like these ideas were bad. No, they were bad. I don't feel like these ideas were off base in what they were trying to do. I think they just didn't really fit exactly what we wanted. Especially because we're getting Null Rodded post board. We need to be able to make sure we can use our like Dark Rituals. So yeah, I think Creature Pivot. If we were going to try another full pivot, I would do Creature Pivot. It's probably equally likely that you're just supposed to play like a bunch of Into the Flood Maws and stuff instead. But this was fun. This was cool. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. I actually had a really good time seeing how badly my thoughts translated into paper. If you want to see more stupid vintage videos like this one, check it out the YouTube channel every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You're already on the YouTube channel. Why are you checking it out? Subscribe, I guess. Monday, Wednesday, Friday videos. See you then.